Alright, so we're going to be doing FUEGOLEON's build video, and I think that Fuego is going to find a pretty fun place in the meta, having a very fun gimmick of just being able to remove complete barriers like on everyone, right? So I'd say that this is like the first unit that really started the full barrier removal, kind of not meta, but just being implemented into a lot of kits, such as units. I guess if we go from here, if we look at it, just going down the list, I would say like starting from Fuego, then after was Noel on combo, Charmy on combo, Magna on his ultimate and combo, right? So units like that, and also going into the future with Mario Leona, and I feel like I'm forgetting someone. That's right, Black Asta. So yeah, Fuego did come out much later into the lifespan of JP, so you gotta realize that too. But now, getting into his kit, we'll talk about everything, so let's just hop in. So, if we look at it, his skill 1 is very simple, just doing 1 burn for 2 turns, having a pretty basic attack amount, but it does hit 3 times, which I rather attacks that hit multiple times for the simple reason that it allows you to get a higher chance to crit in general, because 1 hit is 0 or 100, 3 hits is, well, divided by 33%, right? Now, the skill 2 is, I'd say, a lot more interesting, where it's going to guaranteed apply a burn, and if the enemy already has a burn, then you remove their barrier, which single target can be very good, especially if you're trying to target someone like Noel, right? Then there's the other thing where if you have the skill page, it's going to add another burn that's going to go on a person randomly. Now, the best part of his kit that I did explain just before is that the ultimate is going to be, this one is going to be a bit confusing, so let me try and explain to the best of my ability, and this is from what I've seen from a lot of Japanese players, so please do correct me if I'm wrong and if you've tested it differently. But basically, depending on the amount of stacks of burn on an enemy, singularly, it's not one enemy, it applies on everyone. Per enemy, if they have 1 stack of burn, you will see a 20% damage increase. If they have 2 stacks of burn, you will see a 75% damage increase, and if they have 3 stacks of burn, there will be a 220% damage increase on the ultimate. Okay? So, you will see also that it does remove burns. I don't know if I have the full animations. I do not. I'll show it to you guys later or in another video. Now, you remove the burns, as you can see, just to kind of quickly show you. This guy had 2 burns, now he has 0. So that is one of the things that I think is a bit bad. But the good thing about it is that it dispels barriers on the whole team, on the whole enemy team, no matter what. Okay, no matter what, you are dispelling the barriers. Okay, now the AOE damage is 70% up to 110%. 110% is not bad. It is a bit lower than the average, being 120% at max. If we see from units from Licht and Fauna, right, they are around 120%. Also, Vanessa too, I think, is at 120. So he's a bit lower, but he makes up for the extra damage. Now, you got to consider, let's say, just to kind of give you guys an example, right? Let me just use the skill 1. I don't know why I use that. So, essentially, on this person on the right, there would be a 220% damage increase. Okay, this guy on the right has a 220% damage increase, but the rest have 0, is basically how Fuego's ultimate works. So it is a pretty decent ultimate, and this will work well in certain types of teams that we're going to talk about later. And now just leaving here because we're kind of done. The combo itself is the type of combo that I like, and it is the one that's good with Julius. Basically, how it works is that you get increased damage up to 50% if there is a burn on, or a DLT on the enemy, with 85% damage. And if there is a burn, this will actually do quite good damage if this guy has a good set on. So honestly, a pretty good one. If it removed barrier 2, that would have been much better, but honestly, it's fine. So as for the skills you want to upgrade, it's really only the ult. If we're being for real, just upgrade the ult. And if you want skill 2, but I would say the ult is really the only important one here if you're really going to use them. I don't think you should really be upgrading anything else. Why'd the music stop? Now that we're done with the skills, let's move over to Pridein real quick. Thank you, Pridein. Again, link in the description, and go to the passive. So, what makes him pretty good in that you are able to kind of form a type of stall type of team with him because of the fact he has immortality when he falls under 30%, just like Licht. Okay, I think that's the only unit on Global that has it at the moment. The next one is Green Veto, so I think that is the only one, if I'm remembering correctly. But basically, you fall under 30%, there's no way you could die. You survive for 1 turn, which makes him very strong because of the fact all you really need to use for him is his barrier, right? So that is the main thing. Now, his dupes. Should you really be duping him? Just looking at the stats we get, it's really not that great. You get 1,000 attack, 1,000 magic attack, then 7% crit rate. Honestly, I don't really think stats-wise it is that good. I would have rather it focus on one side, but I guess for the burns, it's better. But because he already has higher magic attack, they should have focused on that like they did with a recent unit. I'm pretty sure Luck if I remember correctly, the recent luck, just to kind of show you guys, focuses only on magic attack, and of course shock works the same way as burn. So to me, it was a no-brainer to really make it only magic attack to focus on. Now, as for the passive itself, personally, I don't think it's going to be the best for this current meta because it gives 5% increased damage at 2 dupes per burn, up to 15%. Now, the thing is, the high investment is great. You get 15% there, and on the skill page you get a lot more. But the thing is, it's high investment in a meta that currently doesn't have any other burn units that are really good, that also can't really apply much burns, unlike Season 5, or I guess in this case, the next season. Wow, we're already getting to Halloween, or the costume party, I guess, since they want to rename, being Charmy. So yeah, this Fuego kind of gets a bit more value at that point, but then immediately Magna becomes better than him a season later. So, you know, just that gap, right? Because you have to wait a season, it just makes sense. You're going to wait a season more, and then Mario comes out. So he's kind of the start, which is great. He was the start on JP of the burn meta, but did not really get to fully form his value with his passive. This, of course, max dupe if you go for it. I would say you really want to go full investment and go for the max dupe skill page 2, which I don't think a lot of people want to do. So just 0 dupes is fine enough for him to do what he wants to do in this case, right? So, you know, all that said, let's go to the skill pages and explain them. So obviously, my personal belief is that these 2 skill pages are the best. Reason being, he has immortality, right? Now that immortality will mean he could survive any hit. So if he takes a Julius hit, you want to have stun block, which these 2 give. You want to have the stun block so that no matter what, he's able to use his attack. The only thing that could stop him from using his ultimate is either absolute silence, which you know isn't out yet, and I mean, I guess Blue Yami, but who's using Blue Yami? Or stun. And if you can't be stunned, that negates your chance of being stopped by 50%, or more like 70, because not many people are using absolute silence. So you're basically stopping yourself, you're basically stopping the enemy from stopping you from using it all, right? So I'd say that these are probably the best ones for Fuego, because he's really just about removing the barriers with his ultimate, right? That's like his main gimmick, and you do that after, because he has low speed. It does help him in the long run having lower speed, because it's going to let him use his ult after the barriers are applied. Now, if not, you could use just the normal damage, or the all attack skill pages being Fauna's, Gork's, Julius's, or Breath of Darkness. But then you could also use Fuego's, Leopold, sorry, but the thing is, he will usually be at low HP, so it might not be the most the best for him, because it's proportionate to your current max HP, right? And if not, just talking about his, it is very good on him, considering there's a lot of burns on the enemies, because on this he gets a 25% increased damage per burn on the enemy, right? So you pair that up with his dupe passive and max dupe being 15% damage, that's 40% increased damage per burn on the enemy, up to 120% singularly, and then he gets an extra random burn. So this one could be good if you're a whale, but if you're not a whale, no, right? So that's kind of my current thoughts on that. All right, so now looking at his talents, yeah, these seem to be the right ones. So you would want to go for magic attack for the burn damage, and then also the crit rate, right? Because it's better that than getting boss damage. And then for this, obviously going for the defense is fine on him. If you want to go for the debuff block, honestly, nah, low-key, I'm gonna recommend doing this. Because of the fact he has immortality, he's going to be under 30% and still be alive, which this one is going to be giving him debuff block. So I would recommend for you to run this one with this. This is like my current recommendation. And then I wish I had the talents to actually get it. And then these 2 are still the best because of the fact that you want to use his ult as quick as possible again if you have the chance. And this will let you have the chance, maybe, right? So I would say getting you the extra SP plus the 10% block is for sure the best way to go about this, no questions asked. Now, as for his gear, now, just off the bat, speed, attack are the best ones. I would recommend, after that, to maybe go more of a defensive route, because the main point for him is just to go and get that one attack in, and then at that point, it's fine. But if you want to go more offensive, I would say at this point, now that we're entering more of a blue meta, considering Charlotte's going to be there, it's very possible Fuego does not end up finding a place in the meta. But if he does, it will be because the barrier meta does stay very strong, which in that case, going for penetration, or I guess crit damage, but there's not that many green units at the moment. Why I'm referencing green units is because obviously he gets increased crit rate, so there's no point to running the crit build if there's green units, because obviously against green units he gets increased crit rate because of type advantage. Or you could maybe go for the speed, but you would need to get stunned. So honestly, yeah, if you want to use this, it wouldn't be too bad on him, because there's a high chance he gets stunned by Julie. So you could go for double 2 speed with attack. Obviously built up like this. Full magic attack main stat. I would say going for half and half does not really work out the best. And if you've started getting your reroll substats stones, right? I would say go for magic attack is the first priority, and after that go for the crit values, and after that if you want to get a bit of crit resistance, go ahead, right? At that point it's really up to you. Getting 4 that are really good is kind of hard. If you're not on JP, it's kind of hard. This is like kind of one of my best ones. Crit that actually no, I have some actual really good ones. Are they on? I mean, I guess that one is this one. This one's my like probably best one. And I mean, I would try to get it better, but you know, it's kind of hard. But I get what 25% crit rate from this piece, 8% crit damage, 6% magic attack. So yeah, no, this is definitely one of my best pieces. So yeah, this is like probably the ideal piece for you to get, but it's kind of hard now on accessories. You can't really get magic attack LR accessories yet, or just magic attack accessories yet. But I would say if anything, you could just go for either full defense or full crit accessories. Either or doesn't really make a difference. Going for defense on him is not a bad option to keep him alive longer, and making sure that the immortality procs later, not a bad idea at all. Okay, so now let's go into the teams. Personally, I think this team will end up working quite well. So how this team would work, I guess I'll show you this way. So you go for the double damage reduction. I don't even think, would you use the speed up? It's going to depend, depending on who William speeds up. It would be good if it's not FUEGOLEON in this instance, but if it's Noelle, no problem, you could use that. So you would go for the barrier, go for the ult afterwards. And then on Charlotte, you could either start with the all attack increase if you have her skill page. If not, start with the combo, go into the all attack, and then with Fuego, just use the ult right away. And at this point, why this team would work is because you're playing the slow way, and Fuego has 103 speed, so he will be attacking last. If you don't want to give him speed because he is going first, that is fine. I think that would work fine. But in most cases, he is the slowest person that will be on the team, so giving him speed would not be a detriment at all. By that point, Rhodes and Noelle will have already applied their barriers. So putting the speed might make you go before, for example, a Mars or a Charmy from putting their defense ups, right? So that's why I recommended putting the speed, so that you go before the people who would start being very annoying like Charmy or Mars, but still being after the people that apply their barriers. So in this case, you have the means to defend yourself with double damage reduction from Charlotte and William, but Fuego is still going to be able to play the slow way and remove the barriers after the barriers are applied by Rhodes and Noelle. So that's the first team, with a second variation just being Rhodes instead of Charlotte. You could play for double barriers yourself, but if Fuego starts to take a prominent role in the meta, we don't know how the meta is going to go, right? I'm offering teams, but these teams could end up being complete dog shit depending on how the meta goes, but it could still be definitely not that bad. If you want to go for defense up on Rhodes, sorry, that could still work well. And if you want to have fun, no promises this team works, you could go for the double burns, making sure that Fuego, Leopold and Fauna are first, and then you try to get the one tap kill with Fuego, but I highly doubt this team is going to work in all instances. I would say a team like this is probably the best, but if you see my showcase has different teams, you could go off of those teams, but as of right now, like, these are definitely, I would say William is probably one of his best partners, just to let Fuego just do his thing afterwards, later, not first. This is not a team, this is a team, honestly, you want to go second, keeping in mind that you want to put the stun block skill page on Fuego, right? So if you want to make some variations, maybe put Mars, put him with William, and then go for the combo, not a bad idea. You get the stun first turn, and in most instances it will go off, but you won't have the damage reduction, but it should be fine. Noelle might be in danger, but Fuego won't because of his immortality, which allows you to play kind of funkily, right? So yeah, there's a lot of different ways we could go about this. I would say William, Fuego, Noelle are like the 3 main units to put together, because obviously Noelle after is going to AOE ult, but because she's first, that's why you put this one, check the, yeah, so that's why you use the barrier first, because she's going to be going before Fuego, and then after Fuego removes the barriers, then Noelle ults, right? So that's essentially how it's playing out in my mind. So that's essentially it. That's it, right? So thanks for watching. Leave a like, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Next video should be should you summon, and yes, goodbye.